recording now. There we go. We're live.
Okay.
Hey,
Stay
awesome.
calm. We're okay.
So hello everyone. My name is Lowell Francis. I'm part of the Gauntlet gaming community. I'm the co-author of the game we're playing tonight, along with Agatha Cheng. The game is called Hearts of Wulin, and it is a game of wuxia melodrama. And I'll talk a little bit about what that means in a second. This all comes out of the Gauntlet gaming community, which is an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. You can also check out my YouTube channel. Last year, I did about 150 recordings of games across 30 different systems. I do that each year. I switch things up every month. But what I'd like to do now, before I kind of get into our explanation of the game and talking about safety tools and all of that, I want to let our players introduce themselves. And so, Saad, can I start with you?
Yes, I'm on the far end. Hello, everybody.
Yes.
I am Sod _ on Twitch. I do streaming, lots and lots of streaming, both here on my channel. And I'm playing a character named Bai Xiaofeng, who is a doctor who has a kind of sad past to him. So hopefully that'll be looked at. And it's going to be great to get into this. I can't wait.
And then Kat.
Hi, everybody. I am Kat Rambo. I am a writer and editor. I just got back from MossCon, so hello to anybody from there. And I am playing the martial artist Young Turtle, or Li Zhao, who is a bit of a trickster.
Excellent. And then Joyce.
Hi, I'm Joyce. I'm a writer. I'm a writer from Singapore. I write science fiction and fantasy. My character is called Crystal Flower. She's a loyal swordswoman, and she's torn in between duty and self.
Excellent. And then Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Underwood. I write as Michael R. Underwood. I'm on the channel pretty often, so hi folks who are regulars, good to see you all. And I co-host the Speculate podcast with our magnanimous host, Greg, aka Arvin Elleron, and I'm excited to be here. I'm going to be playing Tien, who is a Bravo thief known as Heaven's Justice.
Excellent. So if you're watching this, I want to talk to you a little bit about the structure of what's going to happen this evening. We play up to about 3 hours is our general length of play. Today we're doing character creation. That's going to involve me talking more than you want me to at the start. And then everyone's going to be working on their characters, so there'll be some awkward silence. I'll talk a little bit about system. I'm going to talk about our safety tools and those kinds of things that we use during play. Once we get characters done, we then move to what are called entanglements, which is where we build relationships between our player characters and also NPCs that we create that tell us a little bit about the world. We usually take a break at that point, and then after that break, we throw people into scenes and we see what happens. If you're familiar with it, this is a Powered by the Apocalypse game based on Vincent Baker's Apocalypse World. This is a story game, which means that everybody is rolling essentially 2d6. That's it. And most things are based on moves. There's a lot of story talk till we get to a point at which there's kind of a decision, and then we move over and resolve what happens. But before I get to all of that, I want to talk about what Hearts of Wulin is. This is a game that aims to do wuxia melodrama. The touchstone I usually tell people from film is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. We have characters in there that have duties, they have amazing skills, but they are undercut by their own heart. They can't express their feelings, they can't say what they really want, and that causes them to be involved in these triangles of relationships and so on. And that's the kind of thing that we are emulating here. But the real source of this actually are the novels by Jin Yong and Gulong, and all of those which are from the 50s and 60s, the sort of seminal wuxia novels There had been wuxia literature before that, but they really set the tone and the essentially the tropes that would go on. And in particular, all of these have been made into amazing, wonderful TV series, all of them multiple times. I think Condor Heroes is up to like 6 or 7 different, 50, 60 episode remakes. In particular, Smiling Proud Wanderer, which is also known as Laughing in the Wind, is my favorite. A lot of these you can find on YouTube, actually, with subtitles. So I recommend checking out. They're wonderful. So our characters are involved in melodrama, which means a heightened emotions, heightened reactions. This is a fantastical China. We don't define a dynasty or anything like that. This is a mythical, fantastical China. And our characters are experts. They have these amazing powers. They're not considered supernatural. It's considered training and so on. There may be magic. There may be supernatural creatures in the world if we want to establish that, if we want to pull those things in. But for the most part, our characters don't necessarily interact with those things. Unless as a player you say, I want to pull those elements in, and then we can lean into that. In our story, we're going to be connected together by entanglements. These are usually triangles. These are, at least in the mechanics that we have here, which means you have a relationship with another person, and that's complicated by a third person. So one of the things I want to say, and I think everybody here is certainly aware of that, this is, of course, I Am Super White, and this is a game about China. So one of my goals here is for us to be respectful of our cultural sources, not lean into parody, but keep that into consideration as we play along. One of the ways that we do that is because some of us haven't played together before. We don't know. I do this at conventions. I do this always online. We have some basic safety tools that we use for RP, basic safety tools that we use when we play. We're using what's called the X card. And the X card, if we were at a table, we would literally have a card that a person could raise or could touch. Here online, you can say, I want to X card that, or you can do this gesture, or you can do it in the chat. What that means is if we hit material that you find problematic, that you find objectionable, as has happened sometimes when I've run, it triggers a phobia. Any of those things are legit reasons to call up an X card. And what that means is we'll stop, we'll retcon back a little bit and go past that. No questions asked. I may get a sense of what the frame is, what we need to cut, but otherwise we just move on. We retcon past that. And this can also be used if you think something has gone off tone, you're uncomfortable with that. If something has happened in the game, particular behavior or instance or language, and the first couple of times you're like, okay, I'm cool with it. But later on, you're like, nah, I don't think so. It is legit to X card it later. So I want you to keep that in mind. One of the things we have is that there are a few things that are going to be off the table for the kind of tone and approach that we're doing. Torture as an element of the story is off the table, just off the table. Sexual violence is also off the table. Those are two things that's not the story that we're telling today. I just want to check and see. I always check in with everybody and see if there's any other material that people don't want to see at the gameplay at the table that might occur. And Assad, is there anything off the top of your head?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Kat?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Joyce?
Jerry, something like abuse.
Okay.
Physical abuse.
Okay, so or a strong abuse in a relationship, that kind of thing. Okay, that seems fair. Mike, anything?
I'm fine with the above mentioned.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let everyone work on the spreadsheet to put their characters in there. The basic steps that we are working through to start is you're going to kind of define a look for your character, you're going to define a fighting style and what weapon you use. When you define your fighting style, you give it a name, you assign it an element, and you choose what weapon you fight with. And these are all descriptor things. These are very much story elements rather than mechanical elements. Once you have that, you will be assigning numbers to the 5 elements. The 5 elements are effectively the stats for the game. I'll talk about when we get to actually rolling, we'll talk about what that means. The one thing you should know is you usually get to choose what stat you roll with. You can try and make it fit. You can say, okay, well, I think I want to do this fast, so I'm probably rolling with fire. The limit is that when you go to fight, you will always roll with the element that you assign to your style. So you'll probably want to put a +1 or a +2 in that. Now, one of the tricks is, and this is a mechanical thing that I want to mention, is you might say to yourself, why would I not always roll with my best stats? The trick is that when you roll badly, often one of the pieces of fallout that will come for that is that I will require you to mark a particular element, and you'll mark the element that you rolled with. So if you're always rolling with your best element and something goes terribly wrong, I'll have you mark that. And while that element is marked, you may not roll with it. So essentially your elements are your hit points in some ways. But they're also the pool of things that you have to choose from when you go to take actions. And I think I'll stop talking for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you guys in the stream should be able to see our spreadsheets as the players are doing it. I'm on the far right, followed by Joyce next to me in the yellow, Mike's in the red, I'd say, yeah, and Kat's in the Jazz Elves asks, I haven't had a lot of hands-on experience with powered by Apocalypse games. Do you find they're straightforward to run? Any particular pros, cons? Want to answer that, Lowell?
Let me unmute myself. Sure. One of the things about most of the Apocalypse World games is that the GM's role is to kind of do traffic control. Players drive the action. They choose what they want to do. and the way that the moves are set up, the GM is thinking about what's the worst thing that could happen, and so when the players roll badly, that's what you roll out. I find it very easy. My prep is certainly less than an hour, and that's mostly kind of thinking about things when I run almost any kind of Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's a simple system, and most of the moves will resolve something broadly, so it's not a very granular system. Any roll is broken into a full success, which is a 10 plus, because you're rolling 2d6 plus our stats that are going to range from -1 up to +2, and a partial success or a success with cost is going to be in the 7 to 9 range. Means you're going to get what you want, maybe not all of it, or you're going to get what you want but with a cost. And then a 6 or less is a failure, and that's when the GM gets to make a move. Yeah, it gets drawn. I've run a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse games, and it's really become my go-to system. We just wrapped a Urban Shadows game last night that is essentially kind of a Dresden Files political urban fantasy game powered by the apocalypse. And I went into that session not knowing what was going to happen, and when we got to the end, I was completely surprised by where the story went. So that for me, it means that as a GM, I'm playing as much as the players are. I get to see the story unfold.
Yes, something I've seen in listening to actual plays and
Sure.
in playing like Force in the Dark games is that mixed success middle ground, because you're using multiple dice, you have the bell curve, and that you're going to trend toward that mixed success. And the game gives you, and that whole tradition gives you a lot of tools for saying, let your character succeed and complicate their lives. And I find that is a really great escalating pacing mechanism for play.
Mm-hmm. And there's usually strong player choice in that option there. So we give you a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to come around and get people to introduce themselves. One of the things I do want to mention is one of the things in the background that's traditionally in a lot of these novels and TV shows and so on is the idea that there are these factions out in the world. The world of the Wulin is made up of different orders and groups, some of them positive, some of them negative, some of them claiming to be orthodox, some of them being declared as unorthodox. Often you want to think about that, about where you came from in terms of an order or what you might belong to and so on, or your reaction to. I have, under the factions and names tab of our spreadsheet, I've got examples there of that kind of thing if you need to come up with a name when we get to that. The other thing I do want to mention too, just since it's a collaborative game and we have full control, gender roles are progressive in our setting. Just we keep that in mind. We don't have to go with classical roles on that. And Joyce, you may want to. I think you've got your stat numbers a little bit off.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can do, was it 2 plus 2s and then the rest plus 0?
It's
one?
+2, +1, +1, 0, and -1. I've got it just above that little thing above the.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Interesting, 3 of us are water. I mean, I probably should do metal, really, since I'm a doctor. It's hard to tell, because, like, they're both the same. Like, for a doctor, you need control and calculation when you're doing medical stuff, so maybe we'll do that. We'll do that instead. Let's do metal.
Now, one of the things that you should do too, after you kind of got your stats and things in, is each of you, the playbook that you've chosen, like the loyal or the thief or the trickster, gives you a move. You should copy that and put that in the moves in the lower part of your sheet. And then you're going to pick 2 more moves.
Yep, for example, my character is Scholar. That's my main aware role. And then my 2 additional roles are 5 Deadly Venoms and the Promise.
I saw the promise go horribly wrong at a session at Origins.
No. Now I'm worried.
Desperately trying to save someone's beloved relative NPC, and they failed. And it was delicious.
I feel like it's going to happen to me, because if you know me, my rolls are bad. Oh boy.
I think I should be okay now. Should be okay. Okay.
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, yay!
You may find when you cut and paste over, it's best just to kind of grab everything and kind of drop it.
Yeah, if you want me to fix all that, I can do that as well. I'm pretty good with Excel. It's my job, really.
Yeah, Google does some really wonky stuff.
Yeah.
The spreadsheet, it's delicious and free, but it also has some issues.
Yeah, if I put in just the trickster, can you fill in the description? Because it is doing something truly wonky with mine for some reason, and putting, I don't know, like it's each clause of the sentence in its own box.
Let me. Yeah, my suggestion is you put the name of the move in the line and then the descriptor in the box below that. It's super exciting for people at home, I'm sure.
I always tell people we need like the girl from Ipanema on loop.
Or the Jeopardy
Well,
thing.
I do have, just so you know, for you guys, I do have music on loop at the moment, since a nice series of musics from Kevin MacLeod. I think his name's Kevin MacLeod. Oh, something like that. In Computech. Kevin MacLeod? Yeah, Kevin MacLeod. And he's got some really nice Eastern style music.
I'm having a little trouble with the Excel.
All right, yeah, I can.
If you've got some magic, I would be very grateful for assistance.
All right, merge that top.
I'll
I
work
was
on cat.
Go ahead.
I was video chatting with my parents who were cleaning out their attic, which had just boxes and boxes of books that I accumulated, and they found like 10 or more volumes of the translated what was it? I think it was Heaven Sword Dragon Saber manhwa.
Yeah.
Which I need to get my hands on. So I'm going to have them send that to me. And some Storm Riders as well.
Yeah, some of the earliest things I remember was when Jade Man tried to make itself sold in the US, and they did a lot of those. And gosh, I've been back in the late 80s, early 90s. And then the other one is...
I'll get it for you, Mike. Give me a second.
Cool.
The Bravo stuff. Ah! No. do that. Don't open it up in there. Panic. Okay, so takes a thief. So what was the last ability? Which one was it?
Oh, the last one is Tracing Shadow.
Okay.
There's a lot of really good ones on this
Yeah.
on the playbook. So good job on making these all enticing.
Good. I want those to be hard choices.
Is this the type of thing where there are advances that you can get in longer game?
Yes, and the advances are pretty basic as we have them right now. Essentially, moving up each of the elements, each of those is an advance. Taking you can get up to 2 additional moves from your own playbook, or up to 2 from another playbook. And then as well, the last option is you can make up a custom move for your fighting style, and I've seen some people do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that this style of design, not so secretly, is like prompting everyone who plays to become a game designer.
Yes.
All right. Joyce, you want to do your moves down the bottom? If you can tell me what they are, I can put it in actually if you want. And I did it again because Google Chrome loves to do that.
Where's the move?
So, on your little character sheet,
Okay.
you got Loyal, your swordsman, I believe.
Yeah.
Correctly. And what are the other? And then the middle and the right columns, you can pick 2 from those columns.
Oh, okay.
So you've got Flying Daggers, Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, Legend of the Mountain, Paladins in Troubled Times, Rage of Tiger, Strive for Mastery, Trail of the Everlasting Hero, and 2 Wondrous Tigers.
Okay, my moves. Where should I put in my moves?
You just pick them. Like you pick 2
my
of those.
moves
You put them down the bottom in the spreadsheet.
In the spreadsheet. Oh, okay. Okay.
Just for reference, as you know.
And which 2 did you pick, Joyce?
I chose Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. And
Good one.
Rage of the Tiger.
Okay.
Where I should go down, right? Wait. Hang on. Oh, right here. I'm dumb. I'm silly. Hang on. I'm not done yet.
That is okay. Absolutely.
I do like Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
For all those who don't know, it's like showing off your cool weapon. Just put that in for you. And what was the other one? Sorry.
Rage of the Tiger.
Rage of the Tiger. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start asking for introductions. I'm going to work across the character sheet in the columns that I have there, since that's easiest for me because I take notes and so on that. So I'm going to start, Kat, I'm going to start with you with Young Turtle.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted, so I was frantically scrambling for a minute there. Go ahead.
Young Turtle, what are Young Turtle's pronouns?
Young Turtle's pronouns are she, her.
She, her. Okay. So tell us about Young Turtle, what she looks like, what's her story, and then hear about your style and so on.
So Young Turtle is a kind of small, squat woman. She has a scarred ear that looks like it's been sort of roughly, basically cut from her the side of her head. She was deeply enmeshed in the Dark Cobweb faction, which is a faction of assassins and folks who work from the shadows. And she was quite good at it until the fateful day when they sent her after her twin brother, Hao. And in a confrontation in which this is where she acquired the missing ear, he cut the ear from her head in this battle. And she decided that she just, when it push came to shove, she could not kill him. So she kind of shoved him away in the middle of the night, and he fell down this hillside and vanished in the night. And he believes she's still hunting him. And she is kind of, but she just wants to apologize and sort of clear the bad blood between them. And meanwhile, the Dark Cobweb faction is not very happy with her. She dresses in kind of slightly ornate robes that look as though they should be actually kind of uncomfortable to fight in. Is there anything else that you need to know? Oh, I'm sorry. She is a master of the Blossom and Thorn fighting style. And she has these two ornately smithed daggers, throwing daggers, which are the weapon that she uses. They were forged by her grandmother, who was a blacksmith of great renown.
To daggers, any ornamentation on those daggers?
Yes, they look like flowers. They're very beautiful. And Hao has his own set.
Does he also fight with the same Thorn and Blossom style, or does he have a different style?
He has a different style. He actually has two kind of short sticks that he uses.
Okay. How old? How old?
34.
34. And how was it that you got involved with this Dark Cobweb Society?
Well, at an early age, I showed great prowess in martial arts, and they actually reached out to me at a very young age to recruit me. And I felt quite proud of it because up until that point, I had always been in my twin's shadow, and he was not selected by the Dark Cobweb faction. And so this was a point of pride with me, and one of the reasons that I pursued it, which gives me very tangled feelings about how I fell out with them.
Now, let me ask you, did he learn and join one of these other Wulin orders, or how did it come that he would have some skills and would be, a target for your group?
He had actually been a government scholar slash bureaucrat, and had been uncovering some of their shady dealings, had run across a fateful ledger.
So, Dark Cobweb faction is a secret hand for the corrupt powers that be.
Oh, they're very dark.
How long ago did you fall out with them? Is this fairly recent, or have you been on the road for a while? What do you imagine?
It's been 3 years of ducking them everywhere.
And so you've had many years in the service of the Dark Cobweb Society.
I have many enemies. I have killed many people. There's a lot of blood on young Turtle's hands.
When you were sent to kill your brother, did they say, go and kill your twin brother, or was it a surprise to you?
It was a total surprise.
And does your brother know that it's you that's pursuing him, or that it's just this assassin is pursuing him?
He knows it's me.
Okay. And what did you take for your moves?
I took, sorry, let me flip over there. The moves that I took were, I am a trickster, which, sorry, I don't have that. Let me just read that if I can get that tab to open.
Sure.
Which is
and I'll grab that text too for you.
I'm sorry, I seem to have closed that tab. So this is where we need the girl from Ipanema as I now look for the email.
That movie is
I dropped
cool.
it in.
If you
for
scroll,
Oh, did you?
yeah, they're
Oh,
all in your spreadsheet down the bottom. You can
Oh,
read
fabulous.
them.
Okay.
I just
So I'm a trickster, happy-go-lucky and smart. I know how to use the rules of the Wulin and the outside world to my advantage. I may use hearts and minds against those who would not otherwise be susceptible to my words. And if I miss, I harden their heart and cannot use that against them in the future. I'm also very good. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, hearts and minds are persuade someone move, which normally there is a thing that the person has, you have to be legit able to convince them if social standing can affect that, but you always can get around that.
Mm-hmm. I'm also an expert trap setter, so I have taken House of Traps. When I reveal a trap that I've secretly set, I roll. On a hit, the opponent trips into it, and I get an opportunity. On a 10 or plus, I take +2 forward against them. On a miss, the trap raises the stakes and consequences.
And with that one, you can always retcon that you've set this. We get a flashback to you setting the trap. You don't have to declare it ahead of time.
Okay, perfect. And finally, and I think this is a good one to go with that, the imposter. I can assume a perfect disguise, and if I have to, in order to impersonate someone specific, I have to have seen them and have their garb. And when I might be challenged, I roll. On a hit, the disguise fools them. On a 7 to 9, they have a delayed suspicion. And on a miss, the disguise falls apart at the wrong moment.
Most anyone can assume a disguise, and in these movies, it always works, but you can assume a specific disguise can appear as a specific person. We would, on screen, to be a whole different actor or actress in the place when you go to do that. So, all right, well, that tells me a good deal. What we're going to do is we're going to get the other introductions, and then we'll come back and we'll do those entanglements. That's on the CC3 tab. It has the example entanglements. I've got them curated for the different playbooks. You don't have to use the ones that are from your playbooks. You can look elsewhere. There's a big list off to the side. You're going to need one romantic and one general. But we'll come back to you on that. Mike, please tell me about Heaven's Justice.
Sure thing. I did that, of course, just as I tapped away. So Heaven's Justice is the youngest son of a formerly prosperous merchant family. Can use it.
Him for the pronouns?
Yep.
Okay.
So his family were merchants. They ran caravans across a few different provinces, but were laid low by the machinations of a corrupt magistrate. And so, destitute, Tian set out to kind of try to make money for the family, while his mother kind of held everything together and tried to scrape the business back together from nothing. His father died or disappeared around the time when the family was ruined, and that's a lingering mystery, because it's all good to have lingering mysteries. Yes. Though Tian was quickly taken in by a righteous magistrate who was actually a rival of the corrupt official, who I've named Silver Crane. So my master was another magistrate who trained Tian in martial arts and in kind of the subtler scholarly arts. So Tian never took the test to become a magistrate and doesn't officially have that training. He kind of unofficially has it, which mostly manifests in terms of like charm and intrusion and being able to read people, which I'll get to in moves. So his style is Celestial Chain, and he uses a flexible chain, and I'm imagining that he has a couple of different ones. One of them is like a rope belt that he can wear kind of concealed, but then pull out and use as a weapon. And then there's like a heavier chain that the Heaven's Justice identity uses. So because he is the thief, Says you have a charming smile and live well, but behind the scenes you indulge in a life of crime. You're not the common criminal. You simply deserve the finer things in life and only steal from those that can afford it. Bloated nobles and corrupt officials. And I'm especially focusing on the corrupt officials thing. You have a criminal identity with a legendary name. You also have a foil, a magistrate or investigating official who pursues you but passes information via their bumbling.
And is so Silver Crane is the corrupt official. What's the name of your master? Are they still around?
So I had a pitch for Kat. Is my character's master your brother? Okay. Because if your brother was an official trying to uncover corruption.
I like that a lot. I think that's perfect.
Okay, and we'll come back on the entanglement. That's great. Awesome.
So I'm gonna.
What do you look like?
Tian has kind of stormy eyes and road-worn clothes. In his kind of civilian identity, he's fairly unassuming but charming. And then as Heaven's Justice, he strikes a much more imposing figure with like intricately patterned black on black, like brocades that you can only see in like the flashes of torchlight, and that only those will reveal the patterns on his martial outfit.
Nice. And water's your element. That makes sense. That's perfect for the flexible weapon. What are the moves that you took?
So I took It Takes a Thief, which says you can slip bonds and pass through locked doors and windows as if they were open. This extends to attack and defense. Your body moves elegantly so as to not wrinkle your outfit or spill your wine. So in terms of attack or defense, that means I could attack through a door. Is that what that means?
Well, the extent to attack or defense, it means that you always look awesome. Your clothes are never ruffled when you're in combat. You always walk away looking immaculate. People throw tea or whatever, and you step out of the way, so you always look great.
Okay, that's rad. And then Tracing Shadow, which says when you spend some time interacting with someone to read their web of connections, roll. On a hit, you learn their entanglements and a secret they would prefer remain hidden. Take +1 forward for hearts and minds on them. On 7 to 9, your target's aware of your workings. On a miss, they learn your entanglements, which is excellent.
That's a great one. And let me ask you this. Does Hal know that you're Heaven's Justice?
I think he has to at least suspect, but maybe we've never talked about it.
Okay, suspects, but won't address that. Yeah. That seems good. All right, that gives me enough to work with. We'll come back with you and talk about those entanglements when we're done with the introductions.
Cool.
Joyce, would you tell us about Crystal Flower?
Okay, Crystal Flower is a petite, slender, non-binary, but they come across as a tomboyish girl. They have a cold smile but lively eyes, one single long braid, but their clothing is modest, gray or dark. Style name called Moon Serpent Sword.
Ooh, nice.
Element is water, and the weapon is Ice Star Sword. They are pretty much.
Tell us about this Ice Star Sword. I know you took the one that gives you the legendary weapon. What makes the Ice Star Sword what it is?
Ice Star Sword is given by the clan matriarch. And what it does is when it touches water, let me try this. When the tip touches water, it sends an ice finger down, like touch the person. It's like it taps the person, and something like that. It's ice. It's cold. It's supposed to be a cold weapon. So it's like when the tip of the weapon touches the opponent, it kind of freezes the person. Yeah, it's called Ice Star. It's given by the clan matriarch who has since passed away, and the clan is now led by my best friend, who is married to my older disciple, whom I'm in love with.
Okay.
So
We'll come back to that on the entanglements, because we got some stuff for that. What's the name of the clan? What's the name of this clan that the matriarch has passed away?
The clan is called Galen Sable Guardians. So yeah, we are orthodox, very orthodox. So orthodox that some other factions think we are inflexible. We're too do-gooders. So yeah, my two moves are Heaven Sword and Dragon Saber, whom I have really explained, and Rage of the Tiger, because when someone lies or breaks a promise to you and you find out, you gain a bond with them. In addition to normal options, you spend this to have their plans, activities go awry, because Crystal Flower doesn't like to be lied to. She's very strict. They are very orthodox. Like yes means yes, no means no, and gray areas. Oh my goodness, I'm torn between something like that. So this is Crystal Flower in list.
Nice. So, were you born into this faction? Is you raised in it?
Crystal Flower is born into the faction. So they are very loyal to the clan, loyal to family. So it is like I need to uphold my clan because it's my family, etc., etc. So yeah.
And do you imagine that? Do you consider everyone in the clan then your siblings, like your brothers and sisters, or do you have a particular brother and sister?
They are like fellow disciples, but also older brothers, younger brother, older sister, younger sister. So it's like a kinship kind of relationship. So yeah, but her older brother is actually like a adopted young man who she has grown up with, and they grew up fighting, and then they fell in love with him. He then married the clan leader.
And they, them is the pronouns?
Them, yeah. They, she, her, they, them.
Okay. Awesome. So we will come back to you on the entanglements because we'll have you do a romantic and a general. The one thing I want to tell you for the entanglements is in each of those entanglements, you need to have one PC in each of them. But I guess we can do it at least one of them. So we can certainly modify to fit with what you've got there. Is that okay?
Okay.
That brings us, last but not least, to our scholar Saad. Please tell us about Bai Xiaofeng.
So he's a doctor who was trained as part of the emperor training students to know how to do medicine, and he was trained at what's known as the Golden Needle Medical School, which is probably one of the most prestigious schools out there. So he passed the medical exams, became a doctor, and was fine for a while. Started to get well respected and well known, and then a case came along where he had to help a noble's daughter, someone higher up's daughter, who had a mysterious illness, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So he attempted to do some experiments to try and find out, try and cure her, and he believes it's some kind of poison, but he wasn't sure. But sadly, through testing and trying different types of medicine, she was still able to move about and talk and stuff. Now she's in a coma. She's still alive, but in a coma, and the illness she's stuck like that. And because of this incident, this noble has discredited him, and now he's been exorcised or ostracized from the medical community. because of it. His title's been removed, and he's now basically he just now wanders about town to town to help people, anyone in need medically, no matter if they're good or bad, and he just in order to survive. And yeah, I mean, like it's pretty.
What does he look like?
Visually, he's late 20s, very clean cut, long, tied up black hair, and his attire is very functional. So it's traveling, lots of various pouches and belts for additional tools that are required for medicals, and herbs and such. And yeah.
And what's your fighting style? Tell us about that.
The fighting style is called Flowing Blossoms. It's you're very unique to as part of your medical training. You still have to learn how to fight in case you need to be put into a war situation for a medical doctor. And the fighting style doesn't use any weapons except cloth. So he has like some hidden wraps around his arms that you can't see because of the traveling attire that he can flick out and use to restrain or get their targets off balance.
Does that include like sleeves and cloaks and all of that kind of? Okay.
Yes.
And was that something that was where did you learn that?
That was part of the medical school training. They had to train you to be able to fight as well, since anyone who works for the Emperor would probably need to, in case they need to go into war situations, battles against other factions. They need to be able to heal soldiers and protect soldiers.
So when someone saw you fighting with that, they would recognize that.
Yes, it's a very known style for doctors to have.
Is that also something where you would use it to like quickly bind up someone's wound?
Yes. It's also part of all that. It's like a mix of a martial arts style and a medical technique. It's going to be interesting.
I love it.
I like it.
So with Scholar, let's hear about your moves.
Okay, so the moves are Scholar. You're gifted as a scholar. When you successfully study based on history, research, or informants, you always gain an additional 1 hold, and you gain +1 forward to act on this information. So hold, I believe, is hold the dice.
Hold is you get essentially another thing you can do. You can ask another question or declare another detail. Okay. So you get more of those when you go to study with that.
All right, and then there's 5 deadly venoms. You can immediately spot and identify any kind of poison or potion before it's consumed in your presence. If someone's been poisoned, you have a +1 forward to treat them or heal them with Overcome.
That is a great move.
And finally, the Promise. When you attempt to keep someone from dying in your presence, you roll dice, and on a 10+, they stay in the world, though they may spend some time in a coma or need rest to fully recover. On a 7 or a 9, you keep them alive, but you must pay a significant cost. On a miss, they just die.
Oh no!
And you are haunted.
And it haunts you.
I was just thinking, right? Just thinking aloud. Can the nobleman's daughter be my clan leader?
Sure, I'm down.
So
with
it's
that.
like I'm angry with you now because it's like you made her in coma, but I hate you, but I like you at the same time. Because
Absolutely, we will connect that up.
Oh, it's perfect. I love it.
Yes. I like you at the same time.
And in fact, what we're going to do now is we're going to come around, and I'm going to go in the same order. And this is, by the way, as a GM, you'll see me do this. Is I usually kind of set an order and I walk through it. I try to change it up each session. When we go to scenes, I'll typically work in that order, but you can always say, oh, I got something I need to do. And we kind of shift the initiative because there's no initiative roles in this system. So just to tell you what's up with that. We're going to go through in the same order, and we're going to go to Kat, and Kat's going to tell me whether she's going to do her romantic or her general entanglement. Within those 2 entanglements, the general romantic, at least one of the people that you put in there, of the 4 possible slots, at least one of them has to be a PC. More can be, but at least one of them has to be. So, Kat, tell me do you want to tell me the general or the romantic?
I'm going to do general.
Okay.
And I am Oh, I'm going to go with the my sibling Hal disparages me, and my parent, whose name I need to fill in, wilt condemn them for some reason. Can I make that my grandmother?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it's my grandmother, the forger of the blacksmith tools. I will put it in.
So, has he told her that you're an assassin, or is he just disparaging you?
I think he keeps hinting at it, and she's basically refused to believe it so far, but will not condemn him saying such, well, actually true, but heinous thing.
So does your grandmother's opinion matter strongly to you then?
Terribly, very, very much.
Are your parents alive, or is she the only one of that?
She raised us.
Okay.
She raised us.
And he says these terrible things, but I mean, what if he ever told her? Oh, that terrible. We will come to that. Okay. Excellent. We'll come back to you and figure out your romantic entanglement.
Okay.
One of the assumptions default being for the game is that you all know each other, at least in passing. You've met each other at least in the course of this, in one identity or another, specifically. So, Heaven's Justice, Mike. Would you like to do your romantic or your general first?
I don't have a romantic in mind, but I do have a general, so I think I'll start there. I seek to bring Silver Crane to justice for their crimes against my family, so that my mother, Minyu, may retire in peace. But I'm also fine to tweak or revisit that if we don't end up with enough character ties.
And how is it that your mother's kind of complicating that relationship with Silver Crane? What is her relationship in that doing for that?
I think the thing I was imagining is that she has been, instead of like changing the plans and finding another way for the family to live, she has just been aggressively trying to resurrect the family business and restore the family name, which, because she is the matriarch, like everyone is trying to make it happen with her, and she needs this or at least Tian thinks that she needs to basically be exonerated socially so that the family can have peace. I'm also fine to rework this.
So is your sense that like you're poking the hornet's nest of Silver Crane, and that may bounce back on your mother in some ways too?
Yeah, because if Silver Crane wanted to, he could do more bad things to the family.
Okay. So that is, in a sense, that your pursuit of Silver Crane is endangering your mother in some ways.
Right. But so I could rewrite that to.
Okay. No. It just gives you a sense of the dimension of that. Yeah. I like that. Kat, did you have a name for your grandmother? You are muted.
Still thinking.
Okay.
I will
all right.
fill it in.
Excellent. Crystal Flower, do you want to do your romantic or your general first?
I'll do my romantic. Crystal Flower is, let me see again, torn between duty and self, but they are in love with the older brother disciple whom they call older brother disciple, who is married to their clan leader who's now in coma, caused by a physician she wants to, seek revenge. She's angry.
What is the name of this older brother?
I have called him Ziming. Ziming is in this one. Ziming. Older brother is Ziming.
Ziming.
Yes.
And the clan leader's name?
Ling.
Ling.
Ling. Ling.
And so she's been in this coma for a while. And older brother has been handling things, and there's of course been tensions within the clan.
Yeah.
And have you? I mean, I assume that you haven't yet been able to say anything, express anything.
No. It's
Okay.
just torn by duty and duty bound, and I'm like, I'm here to serve the clan, etc., etc.
And he leans on you for your support and help.
Yes, definitely. But I'm like, no, please no. Stop.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll work to break your heart here as we go along. Well, we'll come back to you and get your general one. By Xiao Feng.
Hmm.
You want to from me?
Yeah, so I was thinking romantic. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this. Is that I fled because of the accident, but Crystal Flower, who is has called me back to honor the debt. I kind of like that idea. I'm just trying to think. Would I have a romantic engagement with maybe the clan leader or something like that? That would be really crazy. But
so you also fell in love with her?
Yeah.
Oh.
She would be. I'm trying to think of a good way to do this, or it'd be someone else within the clan, maybe. And they sent Crystal Flower to honor the debt that I've done by the coma. What do you think?
What?
Would it be like the other family member who was always at the bedside, like while you were tending to the clan leader?
Yeah. So
maybe Ling's sister.
Yeah, like Ling's. Yeah.
Okay. And what is Ling's sister's name?
I'm gonna say Liung, but it's gonna get confusing like that.
A lot of L's.
How about Lianhua?
That's good. Do that one.
Lianhua is lotus flower. Lianhua.
Linhua. So Linhua has essentially sent you sent Crystal Flower to have you come back because this debt, and of course Crystal Flower doesn't like you very much for various reasons. So there's some tension and lines that go on with that, and you also don't want to face your own failure, and you also don't want to potentially face Linhua. Since you can't be together, you're disgraced.
Yep.
And of course, her father also wants you dead. Okay, so let me add in a few more complications.
Oh boy!
Oh no!
I'm so screwed.
Oh yes. Okay. All right. Thank you, Bai Xiaofeng. We'll come back for your general. So, Kat, I'm going to come back to you.
So here's the one I have picked, and I need someone to insert themselves in one way or another if they feel comfortable with it, which is I am wed to someone, but know that they actually pine for someone else.
Oh, okay.
Would anyone like to be the person my spouse is pining for?
And it could be engaged rather than married. It's up to you if you want.
That's good. This is the person the dark cobweb person wants me to marry.
I mean, like, if you want to go really crazy, sure, I'll do it.
Okay.
Because I've traveled around a lot, so after fleeing from that.
Oh, you're a complicated man.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna I know they actually pine for.
And that's perfect for me because I've hidden my true identity from young turtle because of my past with it.
That's good.
Oh boy.
We're gonna do our best to make it so that that Lowell is gonna have to use 4-dimensional chess to create a relationship map.
Yeah, no, I'm working on it. I'm getting it.
Okay.
Working on it. Okay, for Lenoir. All right. Okay. Excellent. And your grandmother's name?
Her name is Maisao.
Okay. Excellent. Heaven's Justice, what is your romantic?
I'm a little torn because I'm interested in having some kind of double relationship with the bumbling magistrate, but then I'd need a PC in there somewhere as well. So I'd either need the magistrate to be involved with a PC, or something along those lines. Because I like the kind of the Batman or the Superman Clark Kent thing of having a different relationship with the same character in two identities. But I would either need to change the general or include another PC in the romantic thing. So that's either somebody is involved with that magistrate, or something else.
Or they pine for someone else. That's also a possibility.
Right. So let's see. So what if the magistrate, if this is okay, Kat, what if the magistrate is trying to find and reform the legendary assassin?
Ooh, I like that.
Okay.
So trying to reform his sister is what you're saying?
So the bumbling magistrate is a new character.
Okay. Oh,
and
this is a bumbling magistrate. Okay.
Yeah, this comes with the Trickster.
Okay.
Yeah, the Trickster playbook.
Okay.
Sorry, the
thief thing.
The base thief thing. And so this is the foil or a magistrate or investigating official. So if I, as Tien, am kind of pursuing the magistrate, but their interest is elsewhere. And the funny thing is that my character genuinely likes the magistrate, but has to evade them as a thief. So it's kind of a three-way entanglement.
So you're in love with this bumbling magistrate. Pursuing. Okay. And their heart lies, elsewhere. Is it that they are in love with the idea of this assassin, this young turtle assassin, or is it that you're in love with this magistrate, but they're pursuing someone that you trust, like your friend, young turtle?
Right. I think because it could be like a scaled down killing Eve thing.
Okay.
But that I'm referencing just off of knowing the show a little bit. Like Killing Eve is this idea that you have this like MI5 agent who's obsessed with a assassin. So she's torn between tracking down and capturing the assassin and wanting to kind of be with the assassin or vicariously enjoy this adventurous life. So I think the main tension is it's the double identity tension of being pursued by the magistrate, wanting to be with the magistrate in a different identity and maintaining that secret, and the magistrate's interest, no matter what I think, being elsewhere. So,
okay.
Yeah, sorry, that's a little convoluted.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to get the sense of it. It is as much as anything is that this is the magistrate. You're part of in the general pursuits, but you know that her attention and her efforts are this dark fascination with this assassin that's out there that probably pursued your master Hal. She probably connected in that way through that. Does that make sense? Seem like it works? Okay. And we can refine that in play too.
Do we need a name for the magistrate?
I had Magistrate Gao.
Good.
So is that a man or a woman?
That is a woman, she, her.
She, her.
So we could discover the form of that fascination in play if we want.
Okay.
If that works.
Excellent. Then draw that line over there. Cross out some more things. All right. Crystal Flower, what is your general?
My general, it's I want my clan leader to be healed, so Lianhua sent me to look for Sao Feng.
So,
but I hate the idea that I do not like the idea that the clan leader to be healed. So I'm evil that way, you know.
I like it. I think that's great that you're conflicted.
Very conflicted, like
this.
Because Ziming is with me, but I like the idea, but you know, she's in a coma, but she's our clan leader. She needs to be healed, but yeah, there's a lot of buts. Too many buts.
That's perfect. No, I think it works. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Bai Xiao Feng, what is your general entanglement?
Clearly, I've just hidden everything from Crystal Flower's side of the story
I
from Young Turtle and Simple G. So none of them have any idea. So that's gonna be a problem when that arises.
So Young Turtle, in her sort of a public persona, the identity that she goes is married to or engaged to Bai Xiao Feng. We've established that. So, but she doesn't know about your past.
Wow. Okay.
I'm trying to get how that works.
So I'm engaged to, was it Simple G? Is that isn't it? Her name?
I thought that I'm engaged to Simple G, but know that they actually pine for Bai Xiao Feng.
Oh no.
Is that wrong?
Sounds right.
I'm happy to adapt that. I thought that's what.
What do you think? We think, Lowell?
Well, let's roll back here. Simple G is
this NPC picked for me by the clan, but they could be dispensed with if we could fit some other NPC in that slot.
Yeah, I think that creates another NPC that maybe we get like one step too far. I had it written down that there was connection between Bai Xiao Feng, but they pine for Linois, but I could be mistaken on that. That's what I had written down.
That works for me. Okay, I'm going to edit. Cool.
That may require us to modify what you had there for your general one, Saad.
Okay. So I hid my true identity from
everyone.
Well, let's see if we can find one. Maybe there's another general one that would work.
I figured I'd just hide my past from Young Turtle. That would be, and then I wed to her and engaged to her. So that'd be drama enough.
Well, so what does she know? What does she know about you?
All she knows is I'm a traveling doctor. So I would have hidden my past from after the accident. You know what I mean? And so I started traveling around, and then I met Young Turtle and her clan.
Okay. Well, and the sense I think that we had was that the clan wanted to engage her to you.
Yeah, to bring me into the clan because I'm a good doctor. So.
And because she left the clan at least 3 years ago, this would have been an engagement that's gone on for quite some time.
Yes.
Okay. One of the things being, and this is in this versus a number of PBTA games, our entanglements are dynamic, meaning that what we do is at the start of each session, we're going to check in and say, here are what your entanglements are. Are they still what they are? Or do you want to modify them? Have circumstances changed? Has information passed? So you're always going to have the opportunity to move them. They aren't like set in stone. They can change and evolve. That gives me a good sense. I'm going to need some time to plan out the next scene. So it's about 22 after. So let's take about an 8-minute break.
Sure.
And then we'll come back and we will start some scenes.
All right. Switching over. Be back in a sec, chat. And we're back. Oh, the cams have moved though. I've got to fix that. You
Okay.
keep going. I'll just fix the cams.
All right. So these recent days, these recent months have not been good for the gallant Saber Guardians. This order is known as the most orthodox of the orders. It is in the company of three other sects that sort of form the heart of what people consider the best of the Wulin, the most righteous, the most forward of the Wulin. And for many years, the gallant Saber Guardians have held the leadership role amongst those four. But with the illness and now coma of Ling, the Guardians have held off the other three groups, but now that has changed. And the three groups, the Iron Delegates, the Peony Vagrants, and the Black Mountain Sect, have come to the city. And in these movies, most of the time, in these TV shows, we never get a name for the city. So it's the city. They have come here to where the Grand Estate and the household of the gallant Saber Guardians are. And it is said that they are going to challenge and call for essentially the leader to come forward. And if she cannot come forward, then a leader will be chosen from one of the other groups. Now, let me get this thing because it'll take me a bit to remember everybody's name here. But Heaven's Justice. This has meant that there are going to be a lot of Wulin in the city. It's also meant that people, merchants and things, and authorities are coming from all over the place to try and curry favors and do political things, which means generally that things are kind of ripe for the picking in some ways for you. But here is the thing that you have heard. You have heard that one of the people behind all of this, one of the persons who's been manipulating things and kind of pushing for this change, is Silver Crane. And Silver Crane has strong friends amongst the Iron Delegates. How did you find this out? How did you come to know that Silver Crane, your nemesis, is involved in all of this?
I think that as Tien, I was drinking with a kind of lieutenant of the Iron Delegates, and I saw Silver Crane's chop on a kind of a writ of deputization that the Iron Delegates crew had. And from that, I was then able to, as Heaven's Justice, infiltrate their whatever hotel or inn that they were staying in, and kind of get access to the orders and confirm that they were operating, at least in some capacity, in Silver Crane's name, or for some agenda in for Silver Crane in his capacity as a magistrate.
And you definitely have the sense that Silver Crane has been using his influence, using his wealth to assist the Iron Delegates in this operation. Like they are monies being spent to petition for all of this. And so who is your usual informant on the street for, once you want to get more information about what's going on around town?
I think I think that it's actually a server at like a tea house.
Okay.
So it would be. I'm looking for names. Bright Peony.
Bright Peony.
Who is? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think Bright Peony is a teenage daughter of Great Peony, who is like a grand dame of the city, like a restaurant scene. And Bright Peony is, because she's young and unassuming, she overhears a lot more from visitors and travelers, and especially kind of members of Wulin in their cups.
Young Turtle, what was the way that you got the information, the news that your brother Hal would be traveling to the city? Would he be traveling back here? He had been a magistrate here, had tangled with Silver Crane, had moved elsewhere, but clearly coming back here. How did you get that information?
So the way that this scene occurs is you start and you see an older, very old woman at the noodle house eating noodles, and then you hear the conversation going by over her head, and you see her kind of tilt her head at the name Hal, and she hastily gets up and exits. And as the light falls on her face, leaving, you see that it's actually not an old woman, but young Turtle, who had been in disguise.
And you have heard that Hal is in disguise, and he has gone to this fine restaurant, the House of Falling Blossoms, that he would be there. And so you have headed there to try and see if maybe you can speak with him. I mean, to do that.
I'll have to sneak up on him in some way, but I'm sure that I can.
Okay. So I need to come back then to Heaven's Justice. Heaven's Justice, what is it here in the House of Falling Blossoms that indicates to you that the magistrates have set a trap?
I think that there is a poem on the wall, and Tian knows from his learning, like from his training from Hao Zhao, that poem is filled with irony and talks about auspicious meetings and dutiful family members, but it's written in such a way that is actually historically mocking of the family.
Okay, and how does it tell you that the magistrates are here with a trap?
Because you have to know the historical context to know that it's mocking. So a family wouldn't put that poem up in a way that was displayed, because it's like biting satire. You wouldn't put that up in this way.
And tell me, young Turtle, what is your disguise?
I look like a farmer who's just come to town.
And you would come and take an unassuming peek into this place?
I look like I'm bringing vegetables to the kitchen.
Absolutely. You come in, and we've established that everyone has met each other. Let's figure this out. Young Turtle, Tianyu, you've met each other. You know each other. Under what identities, under what circumstances do you know each other? Do you know Heaven's Justice? Do you know Tian Yu? What is that?
I think I'm aware of the Justice. I think I know both sides, but don't connect them, or at least I know of Heaven's Justice. But then there's my friend Tian Yu.
Yeah, and that will be the thing. When you come in, you will see Tian Yu there in this tea house, perhaps like he is waiting or looking to meet or speak with someone. What would you do?
Well, I'm disguised as a farmer, so I'm going to kind of wink broadly at him to show him that I'm there.
Tian, you will see this dirty farmer give you the wink, and with the vegetables over their shoulder, and are you exposing yourself to are you kind of revealing your disguise to Tian, or are you playing with him, you think?
Oh, I'm revealing it.
Okay. So Tian, you see young Turtle.
I will kind of nod in response, but internally I'm thinking, if young Turtle is disguised, there may be something, like she may be doing something, and I wouldn't necessarily want to go over and speak to her as young Turtle. So I'm going to kind of nod slightly while making eye contact, and like kind of toast with the tea that I'm drinking as I wait to talk with Bright Peony, trying to play it cool and but not expose young Turtle.
Perfect. And young Turtle, we'll come back to you as you've walked into this trap, but in disguise, and your friend is there. Bai Xiao Feng.
Oh boy. I'm scared now every time you say my name. Oh, this is... okay.
I'm guessing that you received a message sent by Lin Hua telling you of what is coming.
Yeah.
And has told you to arrive at this inn just outside of town, one of those roadside inns, and that someone from her order would meet you there and would bring you discreetly to the household. And so what's your mood at this point?
Just got a tea in front of me. I'm not even drinking it. I'm just stressing out. Just trying to think, like trying to replay everything that happened and trying to figure out, like, I checked if it was this poison. It's not that poison. Was it this poison? No. Was it a numbing poison? Possibly. Just replaying everything to see if I can figure it out. I'm not even looking around.
Absolutely. And then Crystal Flower. Earlier today, Lin Hua called you in and said, I need you to go to the inn on the northern road coming into the city. You must do this quietly. The physician, known as the White Wind, I know, but he is the only hope for my sister. But there are those within our own clan and those amongst our other rivals that will not want him to come. I need you to go and bring him here to the clan household. Will you do that?
I serve. I will go.
And so you've been on the road. It's not that far outside of town, but what's your mood? What's going through your head by the time that you're close by the inn?
Very conflicted, very sad, but angry. Xiao Feng as well. Like, is it poison? Do you intend to poison her? What happened? But no, Linghua is in a coma, and Zibing is leaning with me, leaning against me, and he needs my support. But I am the dutiful like swordsman. It's like I'm very conflicted at the moment. So I'm very pensive, very inward looking.
Mm-hmm.
While I walk in like with a like white brim like hat with a like a veil in front of me, and everyone knows that I'm from the Gillian Sable Guardian straight away.
People looked. I mean, they've seen a lot of the members of the Wulin or the Donghu here in the last few weeks, and but you always represent danger where you go. If something, anything could break out at any moment. It's one of those open air sort of taverns, exposed, so there might be a light rain outside as you come in. As you've come and maybe stepped in, and you can probably see, you have a line of sight, you can see where Bao Xiaofeng is seated there concentrating. You see that there is a pair of swordsmen that have clearly been, you have the sense maybe been moving around the outskirts of this tavern, and they have a look of hunters stalking a prey. What would you do?
I walk towards my Xiaofeng, but my hand is on my saber, on my sword. Okay. Like I know you're here. I'm alert, but let me do my task first. So I walk in, glide in, and step in front of Xiaofeng.
And you'll probably feel the pressure of that hostility by Xiaofeng. And
I'm wondering if this is already in a conflict, because this is pretty bad.
I think so. I think this does rise to the level of conflict. And let me tell you why in this game you want to roll inner conflict, because whenever you roll inner conflict, you get to mark an experience point, an XP. Okay? And you need 8 XP to get an advance. So that's 1/8 of the way. So go ahead and
I rolled an 8. No.
What did you roll with?
2d6. Oh yeah, sorry, 2d6. I forgot the stat.
Yes, you roll with any stat except for your element, your style element.
This would probably be Earth, so +1, so 9.
9. So here's your choice. Now that you're confronted, you haven't had, it's all been hypothetical going back, but now she's here to take you, and it all comes to you. Do you want to mark your Earth, or do you want to flee?
I knew this day would come, so I have to mark Earth.
Okay. Crystal Flower, what do you say to Bai Xiaofeng?
I'm here to bring you to my clan. Now. No questions. Now. Then I place a ingot, like a gold coin, on the table to show that I'm paying for the tea. And I was like, let's go. Now.
I'm not even saying anything, and I just like nod.
Okay.
Okay.
And like a broken man a little bit there, huh?
Yeah, let's walk.
And the two of you will head out of the inn, and we see you two of you go and begin walking, and of course we can see the camera pan, and we see those two figures begin to fall into step, following behind you away from the inn.
So I kind of lean towards like Xiaofeng. We are being followed. Just act nonchalant. Just walk. I know what to do. Yes.
A little dismissive of your skills there.
Of course. I'm angry too. Very angry.
So what would you just follow Bai Xiaofeng?
I pretty much just follow whatever she says.
Okay. Perfect. We will come back to you two in a moment. Young Turtle, I think this is an opportunity for us to go to the study move, for you to look around the inn. Does that seem fair?
That seems totally fair.
So what you'll do is what element do you want to roll your study move with?
I think it makes sense to roll it with metal.
Okay. Control, calculation, reflection. So go ahead and roll study. Roll 2d6 plus 1.
A 2 and a 3 and 1 is a 6 altogether.
So you have walked in here, and as you're looking around, what is it that gives away your disguise? What happens?
I think that the wig that I'm wearing, actually somebody is going by and they've got something on their shoulder that just sort of catches the tail of it and pulls it off my head.
Okay, they've got like a falcon or something on their shoulder that packs it.
Oh, that's good. I like that. Just
yanks it off, and the atmosphere in the room changes immediately, and you will see now. You look around and you will go, "Oh crap! These are all magistrates here. These are all guardsmen that are here waiting for me." And you can see that they are all like, and they're starting to get up from their tables. Like your disguise is revealed. You're in the middle of this room, and
can I use my trap thing now?
Yes, you may.
Okay, it's at this point that the smoke bomb that I cleverly prepared ahead of time goes off.
Okay, so what do you want to roll that with?
Well, I think fire.
Okay.
Right now, fire is my. I can use any element, or
you can use any element. Okay. It's just a question of whether I'm going to have you mark an element.
Well, I'm going to use fire because it's smoke.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Go ahead and roll it.
A 6 and a 4 plus 2 is a 12.
12. So you throw that down, and they are not going to be able to immediately jump on you. Smoke is in the air. You're going to get +2 on your rolls against them. But I want to see what Heaven's Justice does when you see the wig get pulled off of Young Turtle and the ambush of these magistrates breaks out. What would you do, Heaven's Justice?
I think Heaven's Justice, or Tian, rolls backward through a window. And then we get a shot of him reversing his tunic and tying up his pants.
Okay.
And he does something with it, like he ties back his hair, and now he's in Heaven's Justice mode.
Perfect.
Because the opposite, the inside of his clothes are the black on black brocade. So this is his kind of quick change. And then he's changed. And then he kind of runs to the side and pops back in through another window and pulls himself up onto the eaves in a corner to wait.
And in other circumstances in daylight, I might have you roll overcome, but with that smoke bomb and the distraction, I don't think there's any need for you to roll. So we essentially got these two groups of magistrate troops that have risen up, and now there's smoke, and of course we hear the various wait staffs and other people screaming, and there's the sound of tea, and things are falling and crashing. What would you do, Young Turtle?
I am going to try to kind of get to one side of the room near the exit.
Okay.
And in doing so, I'm going to try and sort of trip and shove people off balance as I'm moving and try and get them falling into each other in the smoke and the confusion.
So that sounds to me like you're going to deal with one of these groups of troops as you try to move over to the exit. Does that seem right?
That seems right.
Okay. So, young turtle, roll with your style element.
Okay, which is, I believe, Earth. Yes.
Yes.
4 and 2, and whatever the plus is, a 1, so 7. A mighty 7.
So it doesn't look pretty, but you do. Describe to me what that looks like with your style through the smoke. What do we see on screen?
Well, you see her kind of like she starts to sort of gracefully trip somebody and then actually kind of trips herself, but in the process kind of elbows somebody else. And you see a kind of, it seems like a barely controlled and not particularly graceful chaos of people going every which way. And then at the end, she kind of looks there and it looks like a little confused and sort of like, how did I get there? And then kind of like straightens up. It's like, sort of like, oh, of course I meant to do that sort of flourish.
Absolutely. You're at the door, and of course the smoke is kind of being pulled out there by the wind. And Tian, Heaven's Justice, you will see that young turtle has made it to the doorway, has dealt with about half of these guards, but the other half are moving over that way to try and stop, maybe injure young turtle. You're not sure what their intent is. What would you do?
So I'm gonna swing from along the eaves, and then pull, kind of whip out the rope chain, and try to kind of lasso tie up at least one of the guards.
Okay. They're considered a group that you deal with at once because they're below your scale. This is how you work. You deal with troops. So let's have you roll with your style element.
Okay. So my style element is water. So this is I'm imagining maybe more of a Tai Chi style. So lots of kind of flowing motions, which goes with the whipping chain. And he'll kind of
from rafter to rafter up there, kind of. Okay. Let's have you roll.
So I got a 6 and a 4 plus 2 is 12.
So it's not only do you do it, but you look awesome. So tell me what we see on screen, because your rope is everywhere at once. What do we see?
So I think we see the shots. Maybe it's a shot from below, so that it looks like kind of cracks of lightning as this rope comes down and lashes down and flips one of the magistrates kind of all the way up, all the way upside down, and then wraps around the arm of another and sends them spinning, and they spin all the way down to sitting cross-legged and then fall over.
Perfect. And they don't know where it's coming from because there's still all this smoke in here. And so, young turtle, you can easily make your escape out into the street. And we will cut away from that. We will come back to the road where Crystal Flower, those two behind you, now that you kind of now moved out of eye shot of the inn, they have picked up their pace, and you can tell just the hand motions, the way they're gripping their things, that they're getting themselves set, and they've spread out just a little, and they are moving to close the gap to attack you. What would you do?
So I turn around, glance at them coldly, then I took out my sword gently, and it flames in like a blue light, and from a distance you can see like a moon serpent. It's like a dragon, but it's not a dragon. So when I do it around, I swirl around and I kind of fix the things out, That's like an entire blade is like blue color. And I was like, I will use like, and everyone should know that this is like my legendary sword. So it's like, can I roll? I impress? Can I impress the
Yeah, let's have you roll impress. What of your elements do you think is appropriate for this?
water?
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead. Then you're rolling with water. Go ahead and roll that.
5, 6, 8.
8.
+1. That means 9 if I impress someone.
So here is what I think will happen: is they will be impressed, and rather than ambush you, they do that thing where one of them steps off to the side as if to say, let's go. And you see he does the thing, and you'll see these hand blades. It's got the sort of side handle with the blades. He whips those two out, and he stands, and he looks super nervous, but he stands to address. The other one doesn't have any visible weapons, but is moving over towards the doctor. But they've opted to grant you some significant respect here.
Can I turn to doctor and say, I think we have to fight?
What would you do by Xiaofeng?
If he's not going to engage me yet, I'm going to study him and just look him, try and figure out who they are.
Okay, let's have you roll with study.
And I will use water for this. 6. Oh, my rolls are bad.
Now, let me tell you what you have as options. So this is one of those good points for me to point in a mechanic that you have available to you. At the start of the game, you'll begin with 2 bonds. You'll pick one from each of your entanglements. You could conceivably burn your bond with Crystal Flower to not have things go terribly wrong in her presence, or you could take the fail.
I will take the fail.
Oh.
So as you're studying him, he is up on you like fast. And he doesn't have any weapons, but then you realize when he lifts up, he goes and he kicks, and you realize that he has blades on his shoes.
Oh no! Ouch.
And you are going to mark. You roll that with earth, right? Or no, what'd you roll
water.
that with?
Water.
So you're going to mark your water essentially as he comes up, and then suddenly you pull back, and there is a cut across your shirt there, strategically, Star Trek blood, showing there as you stagger back. And it's at that moment that Crystal Flower, that this person moves to your warrior moves to engage with you.
Then I kind of counter him.
Absolutely.
I kind of blocked him. So
and he's fast. He's doing that. They was trying to keep a wall of that. How does your style match to what he's doing? That kind of spinning blades around.
It's flowy. It's like it's supposed to be like moon dragon. It's like moon serpent. So it flows, and I'll try to angle the tip and point at him so that it's like I'll freeze him to death.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So what you're going to do is he is on your scale, meaning he is a worthy opponent.
Mm-hmm.
He is an interesting. We're going to roll a duel, and we're going to see what happens there. You're going to roll with your style element.
Style element is water.
Yep.
So +2, right? So 6 + 2, 8.
Okay. So that's in the 7 and 9 range. So the foe is on your scale. So you have a choice. You could win at a cost, like you mark one of your elements, they escape. You could lose. You could tell me you lose, and I'd give you XP. Or you can deadlock and ask a question of them.
I can deadlock.
You deadlock? Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know? As you're fighting them, as you lock up, he's got both those blades. You come in fast. He's trying to keep up, and he essentially has to brute force lock your sword in place. What is it you want to discover? What do you want to know about?
Where are you? Who are you from? Who sent you?
He says, we were hired by an anonymous benefactor. He said that the doctor would be here. He did not say that there would be a member of your order here.
Too bad. I'm here. So who's your benefactor? It's like
I only know him as, so you kind of pushing back on him. I only know him as Young Snake.
Young Snake. I think I know him. So
all right.
You're gonna die. The doctor is mine.
you are locked up, Doctor. This person that you're locked up with has cut you deeply. What would you do?
So you watch as after getting the scratch, he like flicks out his arms, and like two long cloths come out, and he immediately cuts off a piece of it and wraps it around the wound, and then gets into a combat stance and then starts attacking.
And this opponent kind of drops back. You know, he's doing all legs and kicks and knees, trying to keep his balance and come at you with like that, striking from low.
Yeah, but I use like my cloth to try and wrap his leg and kind of off balance him so I can do palm strikes and anything that can help using my cloth.
Perfect. So go ahead and roll with your style limit, which is metal.
Yep.
He is on your scale.
Oh my god. Another 6. Plus 2, 8.
8. So that is a mixed success. He's on your scale. So do you want to win at a cost, lose, or do you want to deadlock?
I will deadlock, and I will ask, why is Young Snake want me?
I don't think that they want the leader of her clan to wake up. And people say that you are the one who can do that. With you gone, there will be no hope for her clan. Does that seem like a fair answer?
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
Okay. So we cut away from you two, have locked up. It's probably pressed you both a little more back to back than maybe you'd want. Certainly maybe more back to back than Crystal Flower is entirely happy with. We're going to come back to you two and see how this fight goes in a moment. You get out, young turtle, out into the street. What would you do?
I am going to look around to see if there's any observers or anyone that's sort of standing around to sort of as backup.
Absolutely. Make a study roll. What do you want to roll with?
I will roll with wood.
Okay.
5 and 6 is 11 minus 1 is 10.
So 10. So you get 2 hold. Now with the study move, you can ask a question about a situation, ask a question about a person, learn a person's scale, or don't forget, you can also declare that something is the case. And you can do that in whatever order you want. So what do you want to do first with your first hold?
I think so. Could I declare that there is a messenger waiting nearby to?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They are anxiously waiting. Are they like a magistrate messenger or something else?
They're clearly a magistrate person, and so I want
realize
to.
They see this old farmer come out, and there's smoke pouring out, and you have one more hold.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of try and I'm coughing and sort of buffooning it up and trying to work my way out of their line of sight because I intend to follow them.
So your next question is essentially, where are they going, right?
Yes, where are they going?
Okay. Absolutely. So yeah, they realize that something has gone wrong, and they will take off. And you begin to pursue them, and you can absolutely follow their trail. What about you, Heaven's Justice?
I think I'm going to do the like thief along the rooftops thing, and kind of like we get maybe a close shot of soft sandals on the rooftops in a jump, and we pull back and we see Heaven's Justice following young Turtle through the city.
That seems perfect. So this messenger goes back and forth through the streets. You follow them, and they don't arrive to something somewhat to your surprise, young Turtle, at a magistrate's office, but rather what seems to be an apothecary shop. And you see them go in, and they speak very quickly with the person behind the counter, who nods and seems to take their report. And then they will head out after having delivered the whatever information they needed to pass.
So I'm going to go into the shop, and I'm going to now I'm not a farmer. I'm more sort of like a junior merchant who's come to town. And I go in and start looking around as though I am window shopping. And I'm trying to find out if this is an actual shop where this person just sort of happens to be, or whether this is kind of like the central headquarters.
Okay. You definitely have the sense, we can go to a study move if you want, but you definitely have the sense that it's not like an HQ thing, but rather just from the presence of this person, that this person is some kind of agent, some kind of important person. Okay. And they will greetings to you. How are you today? What is it that you might want?
I wish to purchase ginseng tea.
Ginseng tea, a fine choice, an excellent remedy.
And I'm studying them carefully because I might want to impersonate them.
Okay, I think you can absolutely. They have a fine combed beard. Their hair is cut back. They have a pin attached to one ear, somewhat unusually, that looks like a bit of jade, but otherwise simple shopkeeper's attire, and you'll definitely get a sense of that. Let me come back and ask Tian. Tian, you see your friend, I'm going to use air quotes for that, your friend vanish into this shop after this messenger has left. What would you do?
I think, like, keeping to the shadows, kind of perched up into a corner of one of the roofs, I would study the scene to try to pick out any possible assailants from the people coming and going up and down the road.
So you're kind of covering that, looking to see if anybody seems to be casing the joint, kind of thing?
Yeah, either recognizing the magistrates from the inn or somebody else that's looking shady, because one of my moves is about kind of being able to read people. So I'm going to lean into that with a general study.
All right. I'm going to come back to you two on those study moves. I'm going to flip back to the duel on the road. Crystal Flower, you're locked up with this guy, and you see him kind of look, and you see that calculation in his eyes, like he's thinking, if I can just hold this warrior long enough, my partner may be able to kill the doctor, and then we'll be able to get away. So he is clearly trying to keep your attention. What do you want to do?
I kind of like I kicked him on the groin. Like,
Okay.
Jabbed, and then I spin away, flowing like that. And I was trying to I start circling him. Waiting.
Okay, so you want to deal with him quickly before he can do anything else.
Yes.
Then it is another dual move.
Mm-hmm.
Roll with your style element.
Our elements water. Oh my god. 4 plus 2, 6. 8. 4 plus 6 plus 2, 8.
Okay, so you have a choice there.
Okay.
You can win at a cost, marking an element or letting them escape. You can lose, or you can deadlock again.
I think I will win with a cost.
Okay, is the cost that they escape, or do you want to mark harm on yourself? Do you want to mark an element?
Cost of escape.
Okay, yeah. So what is the moment that tells him that he needs to get out of here, that if he stays, you're going to kill him? What happens here in this fight? Is he kind of bringing the blades up?
I bring the big blades. I start to glow, swill, like there's a glow, like a blue aura. It's like I'm like powering up. It's like you're gonna die now.
Absolutely, and I think as you bring it close, probably to get that frost forms on his blades.
Yes.
And he can feel his hands, like he starts to feel the frostbite in his hands.
And everything starts to turn cold.
Yeah, and he will tumble backwards. Does that rolling backwards, and does that light foot up into the nearby trees to get away. Let's see if his friend kills the doctor, though, in the meantime.
Oh, no. Let's do combat. I'm going to keep trying to fight this guy. Come on. Here we go. Rolling some dice. All right, got a 10 plus 2, 12.
Tell me what that looks like when you turn the tables. How does that shift, and what happens here?
Because he's using he's got various blades locked up in his clothes. I wrap around various joints my cloth so he can't physically use them, and so he becomes immobilized as I flail on him and knock him down. But he eventually does. Does that he become a conscious?
Do you want to show him mercy?
I want to. I want to show him mercy because I'm a doctor.
And because you won decisively and showed him mercy, you get to mark another XP.
Wow.
So he is locked up on the ground. You turn around, Crystal Flower. You've just driven this guy off. He's left in the trees. You turn around and you can see that somehow Bai Xiaofeng has wrapped and locked his opponent up, and his opponent is hogtied on the ground.
Oh, impressive. Very impressive. So I kind of walk towards the other guy and point the blade at his throat.
And of course, that little bit of frost crystals kind of forms in his sweat there as the ice blade comes close to it.
Yes. It's like, so tell us the truth and we'll let you go. Tell us a lie and you die.
What do you, Bai Xiaofeng, what do you think of this?
I can't control her at all, and I say, you better listen to what she says. I cannot stop her if she drives that in, and that sword.
We were hired. Listen, there is a an apothecary in the city. That is where we met with young Snake. He is the one who gave us the money to have you dealt with.
Anything else?
That is all I know. He tries to gesture to his friend.
So, can I ask him? Can you describe young Snake to me?
Can you tell me who young Snake is?
And he will describe a gentleman with mustache, beard, a little bit of jade, a shopkeeper's outfit. Essentially, on screen, we've already seen this character, but yeah, he describes young Snake to you.
All right.
So I turn to Xiaofeng. Should we let him go?
I mean, I nod yes, but
he does too.
Yes, I kind of like pull away the frost blade and say, "Go now."
Cut his bindings. He will scramble to his feet, and he runs off essentially in the opposite direction away from you.
Okay. So, should we go look for young Snake instead? But I need to bring you to Lianhua. So we continue.
Before we leave, I have to start healing. I basically pull out all my pouches of various herbs, check if it's been poisoned, because if someone's attacking me, someone wants me dead. And assassins are quite known for using poison. Is there any poison in it or anything like that?
No, there is not. But if you stop and take the moment here to say that you're stopping and binding your wounds, you may. That counts as a descriptor scene to do that. You may
I would have to ask Crystal Flower to help me because it's a bit hard to kind of do it on yourself. So, because I like pull all this out and go, you don't mind if you could do this for me?
Damn, Christopher is like she kind of turn away and like place the cloth on the chest and like, because she's still modest, you know. Modest, and she's like, and she kind of mutters like, "Thank you for your help."
Nice.
Thank you for your help. Then after that, she's like, "Are you done now? Can we go?"
Like, I'm like still nearly there. Just all right. It's good enough.
I think just to cross the streams here.
Cross the streams.
Cut back to Heaven's Justice. You're standing there, kind of watching the street, and as you look down, you will see these two figures approaching. One of them looking a little worse for wear. Clearly has taken some injuries and has tied themselves up. And you've met Bai Xiaofeng in some identity before, so you know who he is. And you know who Crystal Flower is. Crystal Flower, have you put the veil back again over your face so we got that distinctive look to you?
Yes. And I'm hiding beside Bai Xiaofeng. But I think this time she has a blade out. The sword is out, but it's like not glowing. But she's like, "Let's go."
Yeah. So definitely when you see them, Tian, and they are heading, essentially going to cross paths with that apothecary shop, and Crystal Flower has a look of purpose to her. What would you do, Tian?
The two are retreating from...
No, they are coming towards the apothecary shop. We've cut to the city. They were outside the city, so we've cut to sometime later. They've gotten the information about where the shop is at, and so we see them now. It's in a busy street, and they are coming this way towards the shop that young Turtle is in right now.
I think... my things. I'm going to study to try to reveal kind of a secret entrance in this area so that I can come into the scene with young Turtle in a different direction.
Perfect. Let's have you make a study roll.
So I think I'm going to do that with wood in terms of curiosity.
Great.
Cool. I got an 8 on the dice, plus 1 is 9.
So, so tell me what entrance is. What is the secret way into this apothecary's shop?
I think the secret entrance is actually a smokestack. When the fire is off. Okay. So Tien manages to slide down a smokestack and drop into a back room, ideally unnoticed, and then kind of work his way to a side room where he can hear young Turtle and whoever else it is talking.
And that is our perfect chance to cut to young Turtle. Young Turtle, what do you say to this shopkeeper that you have studied?
What I would like to do is somehow overcome them and impersonate them. So I'm trying to lure them into a back room where I can knock them out. I'm asking for something that I know that they will not have. And I'm going to actually make up the name, and then when they say they don't have it, I'll ask if perhaps they have some in back, and perhaps we could go look.
Let's have you roll Hearts and Minds.
All right. Oh, should I tell you what element first?
Yes. What element do you wish to roll that with?
I am going to do it with Earth.
Okay.
Okay, so 1 and 3 plus 1 is 5.
So this person looks at you and he says, I could fetch it from the back for you, young Turtle, but I don't want to.
Mm.
And you see his stance shift, and he kind of puts his hands together, and you get that feeling like that little hackles on the back of your neck, like this guy is bad news.
I will begin backing towards the door.
Leaving so soon?
Uh-oh.
I have remembered something that I have forgotten.
And I think that's the moment that we cut to outside. Good Doctor and Crystal Flower, you've come into the city, you've marched along, and it's on the path to head into your estates there, Crystal Flower. So you do have a chance to pass by this apothecary where young Snake is supposed to be. Would you two go in, or would you watch the place? What do you think?
Mr. Flower, this is the apothecary that he spoke about.
You can just go in and check it out.
I think your brother would like us to at least have that information.
Yes, I should, because I know my clan is hated by a lot of people. So let's go in.
And I think that is the moment which we have that collision as you two go to go into the shop, as young Turtle is backing out of the shop, and the three of you are kind of jammed up in the doorway for a moment.
Okay. Excuse me. What's wrong? What?
So let's establish where everybody's at. Young Turtle, you are in disguise.
Yes.
And you look over your shoulder and you will see Bai Xiaofeng and Crystal Flower, both of whom you know, one who you know more specifically. And the two of you will just see this ordinary customer kind of backing out of the shop. Young Turtle, could I please have you make an inner conflict roll as you've just bumped into your fiancé?
It's 2 dice again?
Yes. What would you like to roll that with?
Oh, let's roll that with. Oh, it has to be water.
Okay.
I think, for emotion. A 5 and a 1. A 6.
So 6. So here's the good news. The good news is because you rolled inner conflict, you get to mark XP. And the even better news is that you get to mark another XP because you failed that roll.
Huh.
And you, young turtle, tell me how Bai Xiaofeng recognizes you.
I see Bao Shaifeng and I attempt to duck my head away so he can't see me, and in the process knock away my disguise.
Bai Xiaofeng, it's young turtle.
Yeah. I kind of look towards Crystal Flower, and I'm like, Crystal Flower, could you wait outside for a moment?
Why? And once I'm
You
going
won't like this, but and I whisper, I make sure I whisper this and kind of point towards young turtle and say, "That's my fiance."
So I need to look for young snake, right?
You mean?
I will go outside for a minute. Then I back off.
It's what's this? What's the disguise for young turtle?
Sort of young merchant.
Okay.
Let me have you three chew on that for a moment. Let me cut back to Heaven's Justice. You kind of heard this conversation. You've got this sense, and you heard young turtle like back away. Maybe a little tremulous voice there. And then you hear this kind of like clearly there's some kind of less scuffle, something going on in the doorway and the exit. What would you do, Tian?
You're muted, Mike.
I'm going to add an edit to the Heaven's Justice outfit because it makes sense to have like a bandana kind of up over his nose.
Absolutely.
To like actually conceal his identity, as opposed to like Superman because I don't have glasses.
Exactly.
In the Tian identity, so kind of checks this up and then throws the door from the side room open with one hand and whips out with the rope to topple over some containers of like herbs or something above or next to the proprietor to give cover.
Okay.
Because what he thinks is that the only person that he knows anything about is like, oh, there's something. So if she's leaving, it had to be because of this person. So operating off of limited information and then trying to make a big move.
So absolutely, let's have you roll overcome to create this distraction. There's probably lots of deliciously explosive and pungent things in here that you can knock to the ground.
Yep. And if I'm using the weapon, do I have to roll style, or could I roll another element?
You can roll anything at that point because overcome is not a combat move.
I think I'm going to use fire because this is like creative thinking in the moment and passionate thinking because I think the tempers are already high. And that's bad. So that's a 5 plus 1 is a 6.
So now you could burn a bond, or you can go with the 6.
It's true. I do have one bond. I'm going to burn my bond with Young Turtle.
Okay.
And I think maybe the flashback there is to some time that that Young Turtle and Tian I'm kind of leaning to Kat, like, did you have a thought about how these two knew each other? Some like positive moment that I could be flashing back to that establishes the relationship a bit more.
I think we were childhood friends.
Okay.
Cool. So I think that would be like, I think Tian is a bit younger than Young Turtle. So maybe this is a thing where like if you were the older kid in a group of kids, like playing in a field or in a forest sometime. And so Tian flashes back to a time when Young Turtle kind of fished Tien out from having gotten himself into like trouble into a ravine, and like flashes a smile or gives him like a knowing look, and then we cut from that knowing look to him like kind of lashing out to try to protect his friend.
So I think we see that rope go across. I think there is a great, comically large container of white pepper that gets pulled down and hits, and there's a great big cloud of that. And I think that will definitely give cover and distraction, which I think that young Snake is going to use to make his exit through a secret way. Does that seem like a fair cost there?
Yeah, totally, because I'm operating on limited information.
Okay, absolutely. So you three are like, okay, let's step back. Let's take a moment here, and then suddenly pepper is everywhere. Great smashing crockery, and there's a cloud of white pepper comes pouring out, burning your eyes and coughing and so on.
I cover my face with a sleeve going like this.
Yes, you can pull your veil to get your sleeve up over it, and it is everywhere. What would you do, Doctor?
So do I notice the shopkeeper running away?
All you probably see is a great big cloud of pepper.
I guess I just pull Young Turtle out from the and Crystal Flower out from the shop.
Okay. So you three will go out into the street. Great cloud of pepper in the air, and Young Turtle. Young Turtle, how well do you know Crystal Flower? What do you know of them?
I don't think that I know much of them.
Know them by reputation, maybe?
By reputation only.
So what would you address yourself to Bai Xiao? Would you speak with Crystal Flower? Run?
I think that I'm curious about what's going on between the two of them, because I feel mildly protective of my fiance. So mildly. So I'm kind of I'm introducing myself to Crystal Flower.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you introduce yourself? What name do you give Crystal Flower?
I say I am Autumn Blossom, an old friend of Sod's character, whose name I could say a moment ago.
Old friend. Are you here to bring me back as well?
Bring you back? Bring you back to where?
Does your grandmother want us to do it now?
Do what?
No.
What?
We don't need to worry about that right now. I have much better things to think about. But why are you here?
Why are you here? Why are you in that?
You don't like it? This is the latest style.
Crystal Flower like,
Yeah.
hang on a second.
I'm not. I don't know how. I haven't seen you in a while. It's just. This is all too much. What's happening?
I'm kind of scowling, and I turn to Crystal Flower and I say, "What have you done to put him in such a state?"
Me? I was sent by my younger sister, right? To bring him back to our clan so that he could cure our clan leader. And I think young Snake got away. Why did he get away? What happened? Why?
And I want I think the camera at that point, we should probably see the pepper is probably cleared. So Tian, you can see the three of them out in the street through the now diminishing cloud of pepper.
I was like,
And if I can't see anybody else in that room, like
No.
whoever young
The proprietor seems to be gone.
I think I would take this opportunity to slink out to the alley and kind of quick change back into civilian mode.
Okay.
And then just kind of walk out from the alley and go, "Oh, hello,
Tian!
where do you step up from? Where? What?
Comes around from an alley.
Oh,
Nearby.
And I look for a second, and I'm like,
was like,
you had heavily cut arm, and went to the artery just about. I remember you. How's the
'cause
arm?
I think, good. I think Bai Xiaofeng tended to my wounds, but in the identity as Heaven's Justice, so he knows both of my identities.
Yeah.
Because I had to kind of reveal myself, or it came out in discussion. Some like maybe a year back.
Yeah,
So
something like
that's all?
that. Yeah.
and
Oh, it's doing all right. You know, I probably won't ever get to go play mandolin at the court, but so it goes. I just like big chuckle because he doesn't play mandolin.
Well,
what are you all doing?
if you have any additional problems, any scarring you want to help remove, I've got extra herbs for that. But I'm in the middle of a problem right now. And I'm kind of like just looking back and forth between these two people.
And I got my young turtle's got her arms folded and is scowling.
And Christopher is like, what the hell is going on? I was like, look, I have to bring back Bai Xiaofeng to my lead clan, and I do it now. Then I kind of like pulled him towards me.
Yeah, start pulling me away.
Let's go now.
So,
No, we have to go now. We talk later. Let's go now.
wait.
Do you want to be going with her? With them?
No. Just. Autumn. Do you remember Lingua?
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
That.
And you see her face just sort of shudders itself, and she just sort of takes a step back at that point.
And I think we will see Crystal Flower leading Xiaofeng down the street. I think we see that hardened look on young Turtle's face. Tian, what's your expression now as you're seeing this exchange?
I think Tian is confused because the help that he thought he was rendering doesn't seem to be helping, and that there's social triangulation happening that he doesn't understand. So actually, I want to try and use tracing shadow on Bai Xiaofeng.
Okay.
To understand, like to basically pick apart the details of this of the social web that he is caught in.
Sure. What do you want to roll that with?
What am I going to roll that with? I think I'm going to roll that with metal, so that's a +0. And I get a 7.
Okay. So you learn, you can assume now that you have a good sense of Bai Xiaofeng's entanglements. Bai Xiaofeng, what's something you would prefer Tian not to know?
Oh.
I think about young turtle, how we are engaged. I mean, like, it's very hard to hide something like that. I don't know. Would Tian know that?
Does that seem like a fair secret? What is your how about what is your feeling about the engagement? Are you excited to be engaged to young turtle?
Bai Xiao really would prefer Linghua, but
Does that seem like a fair answer for you, Tian?
Yes, and because I rolled a 7, Bai Xiaofeng is aware of your workings.
Yeah.
So I think
eyes meet.
So, take that as you wish, but the way that I present would be seeming like Tian is meddling in some way in how he, why did he show up at just that time?
Yeah. So
I think what is your reaction? What's the physical reaction on your face then? Because I think that's going to be the closing shot here.
I think for Tian, it's like worried, long looks. So he actually will kind of recreate the mask as he looks between Bai Xiaofeng and young turtle, and seems worried.
Camera pulls back. In the distance, we can see on top of one of the roofs, shopkeeper kind of watching this scene and then heading off. So we're going to stop for today. So where we're hitting
boy. I'm so screwed after the first session.
So the way we would usually do this is at the start of session, we would have gone through your entanglements, checked in with them, and you would have highlighted one of them.
Yeah, we forgot.
Well, no, that's just, I don't do it on the first session.
Yeah.
And you would we would check and see which ones you engaged with, and we would give you XP based on that. What I usually do now, because this is the first session, everybody can take 4 experience points. I can put up 5 fingers, but he meant 4. 4 experience points. So there's a little drop down for XP on your character sheets. So add that to whatever you've already gotten for the session. And when you hit 8 points, you'll be able to get something new.
Nice.
And next session, which will be in July, we'll remind everybody what our characters are, who everybody is. We'll check in with entanglements. We'll also check in if everybody's happy with their moves. Because early days, if you're like, oh, this isn't exactly what I wanted for my character, we can switch those around. Does that seem cool?
Yep, that's cool.
Cool.
Okay.
Perfect.
And usually I do a debrief after every second session. So we'll do a brief debrief at the end of next session to do a kind of a check-in.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions?
No, that was fun.
That was a blast.
Good. Good.
Thanks, Lowell, for that. That was great.
That was
Thank
a
you.
lot
That
of fun.
was. I am looking forward to this, and we'll schedule the next game via email. So
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
get that all worked out.
So for people in chat who are interested, the plan is to do this once a month, and
That's a month, yeah.
at a minimum. Hopefully, maybe we can sneak in 1 or 2 there, but mainly it'll be once a month.
Okay. Awesome. So I think we can stop.
Yes. So we do the outro stuff. You want to go through each person and?
Yeah.
socials,
So,
stuff like that.
Saad, why don't you give us? I'll go last.
Yeah.
Saad.
I can start. So I do the production side of this, and I also stream myself over on twitch.tv/sod_. I also do D&D, Dungeons & Dragons with Infinity Beyond on Arv's channel right here, as well as Emberwind with John Helfers on this channel, which will have a special session on Thursday with John Helfers and one other player as we try to find out where in Axia is Everest, which is going to be interesting as like a mini side story. And so next month I'll be doing Infinity Beyond, and and I also do D&D myself. I do DMing over on 1821's channel, and I think that's it.
Awesome. Kat?
Folks that are interested in finding me elsewhere, I often play Esper Genesis on this channel. If you want to see me in person, what's coming up in July is I am going to Briarfest in Lexington, Kentucky on the weekend of the 12th and 13th. I'll then be at the Cascade Writers Conference in Bremerton, then at Confluence in Philadelphia, and then at Gen Con in Indianapolis.
Excellent.
That's my next month.
And that's a crazy month.
Yeah.
Joyce?
Okay, I write science fiction fantasy. I'm working on my space opera with werewolves, and I will be around in Singapore because I live in Singapore, and I will be attending a conference on young adult fiction.
Oh, nice.
In September. Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah, I'm Michael R. Underwood. You can find me at Mike R. Underwood on Twitter. And my website is michaelrunderwood.com. I have a Patreon that mostly focuses on essays about the business and craft of publishing in science fiction fantasy, but I'm also doing more gaming content there now. I have an essay from last week on a very low prep D&D game I ran for two friends. So it talks about how I did prep quickly, how the game went, and lessons on what worked and what was more challenging. So folks that are watching that are very into playing and running tabletop games might be interested in that. And that is patreon.com/Michael R. Underwood. That's me.
And my name is Lowell Francis, and I'm part of the Gauntlet gaming community. You can find out more about the Gauntlet at gauntlet-rpg.com. It's an online gaming community that has about 200 events each month on the calendar. We have a blog. My own any winning blog is now ported over to the Gauntlet blog. It's called Age of Ravens. We also have Patreon supports a monthly zine called Codex. We have 6 different podcasts that are there, including Plus One Forward, which is a podcast just about Powered by the Apocalypse games. I'm co-host of the main podcast, the Gauntlet Hangouts podcast. You can find me at EDIGE23 on Twitter. I have a YouTube channel, and you can check that out. Just this month, I've been recording Monster Hearts 2, which is a game of teen paranormal romance. I've also been running Pasión de las Pasiones, one of my absolute favorite games, which is a Mexican telenovela RPG.
That must be fun.
Dynamite. It is dynamite. I will be running that for Magpie Games at Gen Con. I'm doing 5 sessions of that for them in the Magpie room. And then also, if you're interested in the game Tales from the Loop or Things from the Flood, which came out from Free League, which is about kids and then teens in a strange alternate 80s and 90s, we're just wrapping up the last session of 12 of a game that kind of split and did a time jump with that. And that's just this month. I've got lots of other different stuff coming up the rest of the year. And as I said, there's probably 50, 60 different games on my channel. So if there's something you're interested in, you can check it out and see how it plays. Thank you very much, Saad, for doing this. And thanks to Mike for setting this up. And for all of you being willing to get this all set. Now, Gregory, sorry, got the name wrong there. Thanks to Gregory for setting this all up.
Yep.
Okay. I think I'm set.
So just before we head out, I will be playing what's known as the Jelinek Kickstarter, which is the sequel to Icarus. If you guys are interested, Jelinek or Icarus. You'll get the Kickstarter for that. Yes, follow it if you liked Icarus or interested in speculative fiction. Go support it. And so guys, thank you for watching. I'll now switch us over to the Kickstarter video, and then that's it. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.
When Icky fell into the volcano, I was out digging for flame petals with Rig. So, where'd you fly from?
Well, I came from above. A long time I fell, as long as a lifetime it seemed, from pure sunlight into a dull reddish glow, and there was nothing I could do about it. I saw mountains and rocks lit in dull red, and as I plummeted ever downward, I began to feel a slow, relentless heat building. I remember a flash of light, and then falling, and then hitting something on the head, and lots of blue light. And then waking up here.
That kid knew how to make an entrance.
In 2014, speculative fiction author Gregory A. Wilson and Silence in the Library Publishing teamed up to run a Kickstarter supporting the publication of a new graphic novel, Icarus, the story of a young man with wings who falls into the heart of a dormant volcano and the creatures he meets there. Icarus has great powers, but remembers only his name, and accompanied by Jelinek, a flame petal prospector, and Rig, a two-tailed lava-resistant creature known as a solar, the winged outsider must set out to discover his identity and purpose. 2 years later, Icarus was released to the world. But this was only the beginning of the story, and now the tale continues. Independent publisher Athos Arts is pleased to announce its Kickstarter to support the publication of the sequel to Icarus, Jelinek, a full-color graphic novel which is the next part of this epic tale. New friends and enemies will be discovered, new threats and challenges to the heroes exposed, and secrets both new and old revealed as the question is answered. What is Icarus's destiny, and the destiny of the world to which he has come? Accompanying Gregory Wilson's emotionally resonant story is the extraordinary art of Attila Fabio, who has worked for IDW and other prominent comic publishers. In addition to the work for Jelinek, Attila will be redoing the entirety of the original Icarus art, along with an updated cover. Stretch goals like original artwork, access to the original prose novel, and audio material will be added over time. In its first incarnation, Icarus was fortunate to gain the attention and support of over 400 backers, whose generosity allowed the book to see full publication. Those backers will have several rewards in this project tailored specifically for them to acknowledge their critical role in first helping bring this world to life. We also welcome the backers from Gregory Wilson's other previous projects, including Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, Emberwind, and others, plus the backers from Silence in the Library and Athos Arts' previous projects. But whether new to their work or a previous supporter, the author, artist, and Athos Arts are all enormously grateful for your support of Jelinek. Much of the artwork for this project is already completed, and lettering and layout has already begun. But to truly realize the vision of this story, one final component remains: you. In 2016, Icarus asked a fundamental question. What is our purpose, and what will we do to discover it? In 2019, Jelinek will provide the answer. Join us in that journey by looking at the pledge letters, supporting the project, and spreading the word. And thank you. Together, we will draw from Icarus's past and learn about his future.
Oh, there we go. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. It was a blast. Let's look to who to raid. Streaming right now. Ooh, I believe Darkside Rob is streaming. Let's confirm this. Yes. Okay, we're gonna raid Darkside Rob. He's currently doing Final Fantasy 14. So yeah, give him a big if you're a sub, give him a big hype, or just spam any emotes and say the Wulin crew sent you. Something fun like that. Guys, thanks for watching, and see you next session.